Whatever I'm feeling at any given point is apparent on my face unless I deeply concentrate on it.
I certainly can't do this.
My smugness is through the roof.
Yeah. I'm the same. I have such an expressive face. It's gotten me into problems many a time before. And the only reason this worked with my cousin is it was a phone conversation. I'm sure my face was giving everything away. So yeah, maybe I should have a third piece of advice, which is just know thyself.
Yeah.
Mike.
Hi, Sequoia.
This is our podcast, Professional Talkers. Look at us go. I'm really excited about today's episode. We're going to keep our introduction short today because we had a long, fabulous conversation with our guest that I'm very excited to share.
Yes, I'm super excited for everyone to hear this one. It's a great chat with Jeffrey Cranor from Welcome to Night Vale, where we discuss how to talk to that relative at Thanksgiving or related conversations. And I knew that Jeffrey had experience with this type of conversation, so it was a clear-cut choice for the expert, just like with episode 2. And immediately, like 5 minutes into the call, it was like, oh, great, we've chosen the perfect
person.
Is
good. This is incredible.
Good.
So before we jump into it, we just wanted to make clear the topic for today. So we are talking about talking to that relative at Thanksgiving, but more specifically, we're not talking about when somebody at Thanksgiving is being like outwardly rude and combative to you and about your identity as a person.
Or to anyone else. Like, these are more smaller stakes. Don't want to talk about politics at the dinner table. Not, hey, Uncle so-and-so said something racist, homophobic, truly horrendous.
Yeah.
That is a different situation. That is, who cares about awkwardness? You got to call out people when they're being evil.
Right.
That is not what we're discussing today.
Exactly. With that being said, let's get into this conversation. I'm so excited to share this with you. This is our conversation with Jeffrey Cranor.
Enjoy!
And now it's time to bring in our fabulous guest for this episode. So excited to have Jeffrey Cranor here. Hello.
Hi, Sequoia. Hi, Mike. Hello.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me on your show. I've been enjoying it very much so far. Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely to hear.
I could have used this. I still could use it, even in my older age. But as a young person, like, I still am a person who struggles to know exactly how to talk in certain circumstances. And these are all really, really helpful. And as somebody who was out in the dating scene this last year, I found that, like, ex post facto very helpful to listen to.
Look, we're happy to be passing along advice. It's fun seeing all the different folks in the comment section saying how the advice is applicable to them. And I think you're a very fun expert to have here, Jeffrey. You've done a couple of different podcasts, all in the creepy space. Welcome to Night Vale, creepy at times. Then you've got your horror movie podcast, which obviously scary. But is anything you've done scarier than today's episode, which is talking to that relative at Thanksgiving?
That's so unnerving. It's so upsetting. Like, I was less scared going into weapons than I was going home for my last trip to see the family.
Yeah, we were like, okay, what are we going to do next? We want to have a guest on next. And I always want to have guests on for things like that I am not entirely sure about. Like, I'm not sure that I myself can give a lot of advice on this, other than, like common sense advice, just because I have not had this happen to me in my life.
That's really nice to hear. I hope that's good news for you. Yes, that's lovely.
Yes, it's never been like face to face. It's always like over Facebook, where I'm just like, I am disappointed in you.
Yeah, I'm excited to have an expert as well because I don't have a ton, and I'm going to keep things like pretty vague. The joy of this, I don't have any cousins. So anytime I refer to relative or relatives plural that I've like had this with, I'll just say it was my cousin.
Okay.
And then we're all in the clear. And I would also say for anyone listening that I feel like this sort of situation can be applicable towards lots of different things. Like it doesn't have to be family member at Thanksgiving. It could be coworker at team dinner. It could be person that is associated with friend group at friend group hang. Like it's all mainly just the person you don't want to see at the event where you have to see them. You just have to be able to title it something. So we're going with that. And I feel like all the examples will just be that. But anytime we're saying family at Thanksgiving, we could also be saying your ex-girlfriend at the college reunion hang, you know.
I think the number one overarching approach that I have to all of those situations is just the phrase keep it cute. And it doesn't mean you have to talk about cute things.
Yeah.
It just means, just tidy it all up, tidy it, make sure your makeup's straight, make sure your smile's on right, make sure everything's good. You've got your shirt all the way buttoned and tucked in. And yeah, it's just keeping everything like proper because it's not about protecting other people. It's about protecting yourself. And the best way to do that is to do your best to control your own composure.
Right.
Yeah, keep it cute is good. I think those are good words to live by no matter what.
Yeah.
And also in this situation.
I'm always trying to keep it cute. I have some advice and pitfalls written down.
I would love to hear those.
And they are what they are. Here we go.
Yeah. How many pieces of advice do you have, Sequoia?
I have 4 pieces of advice. I got my legal pen out.
Good.
I really undersold what I've done today.
Okay, I have 2, so you should start us off.
My first piece of advice is, as we love to do here on this podcast, preparational advice.
Oh, yeah, baby. We're all about it.
Prepping for the situation is, to me, assessing the severity of the problem person and their problem and the changeability of their mind about the problem.
Yeah.
If this person has they're going to say the wildest possible thing and they're never going to change their minds, then the way that you approach this is completely different.
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, preparational advice. Who is it? What are they like? How likely are they to respond to you battling them in any way?
Especially if it is politics, which will often be the source of this sort of struggle. There's the difference between, I was going back and forth between things and posting like deep conspiracy theory, poorly made Facebook memes, stuff like that.
Yes.
If someone is so far gone, there's always going to be the exceptions. But I would say for the most part, if it's just never going to happen, it's just not worth the stress and then all of the bad ripple effects that can come if it's just truly unsalvageable.
And I think if you know what type of communicator this person is, that can help a lot too. Because I was just, as you kind of reframed it, it could just be with friends too. And I immediately thought of, I have a friend of a friend. Politically, I don't think we have any differences whatsoever. But if movies come up in the conversation, he's such a movie snob.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He's definitive about what is good and what is bad.
Right.
You're like, I liked X, Y. Oh, I saw that movie. Yeah, he'll be like, what did you think? Oh, I really liked it. Oh, you did? I mean, I think it's kind of a horror for dummies sort of movie.
Sure.
And you'll get stuff like that. And he's relentless and he can't really hear just how awful he sounds.
Yeah.
Tonally, it's almost identical to having a relative at Thanksgiving kind of want to get into a political argument with you. But why would Biden blah 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 blah? And you're like, I don't know. So sometimes it just becomes it's not even a matter of approaching the person. It's a matter of how to work around if you happen to be in the same orbit.
People who think that they are right about movies, which I do this and I think it in my brain, but I'm not going to say that to people.
Yes. Save it for the ride home. Oh my God. Jeffrey liked Saw. It's horror movie for dummies. How could he? How could he? You save it for the ride home. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart because there's definitely, at least I have found in experiences with this, with all of my cousins that I have these problems with, there's always or often going to be the topic with the person. So a big piece of advice can just be make sure you don't talk about X to person A, and you just have to avoid it at all costs. You just got to know, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I don't talk about movies near this person, because otherwise they're going to jump at the chance to soapbox and destroy all the vibes.
I really love having like a handful of questions if I can remember little things about people that I don't see very often. You'd be like, "Oh, you said you had a niece just born. Like, how is she?" And you do something like that. They can't fuck that up. Like, there's nothing they can say that's going to ruin your day when they start talking, hopefully, about it.
Right.
When they start talking about their niece or like, I don't know, top 5, bottom 5, Thanksgiving pies, go, whatever. I mean, it doesn't, again, it's part of keeping it cute, but yeah, finding the thing that is light and airy and maybe brings out some joy in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. My first piece of advice is pretty similar in what we're talking about here. It is another pre-pro thing, but it's basically decide what level of relationship you want with this person and then approach it that way. And that kind of gets into if it's so far gone, whatever. If it's someone that's not really close to you on the family tree or the friend tree, maybe it's not worth putting in the effort.
Yeah, it's kind of like also like how many degrees separated are you from this person, and is like the degrees separated you are from them okay with you? Do you want there to be like less degrees separated? Do you want there to be more degrees separated from them?
If you're wanting to be closer to that person, then that maybe indicates that despite whatever your differences are, maybe you see a way that you could still get close. You try and find the way in which you can minimize some of those like conversational awkwardnesses. But if you're just looking for like an acquaintance,
if it's someone where you can just have a small talk relationship and you know their favorite sports team, then it's just like, okay, cool. I'm just going to not get into the bad stuff with this person, and I'm just going to ask them about their favorite sports team at Thanksgiving and then leave it at that and not talk about anything else and not try to make this deeper.
Well, that's tough because I'm a Cowboys fan, so I don't like it when anyone brings that up to me. And so,
especially,
I can't talk about it. I cannot talk about them right now. No. For 30 years, I'm like, I can't talk about it.
It's been tough for you as a Dallas sports fan this year. We're recording the September 2nd, 2025, and I don't even know stuff about football, but I heard that it was like the football version of the Luka trade. It's like, oh no, that's the same city.
Well, maybe they'll trade Paige Beckers to the New York Liberty since Dallas is in the habit of trading star players away.
All right, well, now all that the nerds have left the podcast, we can just evolve.
They're all ejecting the cassette tape that this podcast is on.
Yeah. I think this also works for if you're slowly trying to improve a fractured relationship. If there was some big blow up, there was some big event, you can kind of start small and find things that work. Maybe there still is a topic of, okay, I definitely can't talk to my cousin about this. But if we have year after year small talk conversations, okay, sports was one thing. Oh, they got a new job. That's another thing. Oh, we're talking about our love of a particular TV show. Cool. You can kind of build out more of knowing there's this wound that's maybe never going to get healed, but at least we can try and like build other things that work, and we can be pleasant and personable around each other still and keep the peace in the family setting or the friend setting or whatever. You can kind of do this in an incremental level, I think, if you want to build something up, but there's still something that's just like never going to really give. You're never going to see eye to eye on something.
There's also people who, and this might be, I don't know, a part of a different kind of advice or a part of a different pitfall, but there's also people who want to start a fight. And like, it's definitely a different situation if you're in it with like, okay, the reason I'm dreading going to X event with X group of people with X specific person is because I know they're going to come up to me and they're going to be like, so you saw the latest Final Destination movie? I didn't think it was very good. Final Destination is bad, and I know you love those movies. And so there are those people definitely where you're like, the idea of having these like back pocket questions that can divert the conversation are like really important because they are going to make it bad.
Yeah.
All of this advice, like for me, is like differing levels of effectiveness depending on the person, because people want to talk about their dumb shit opinions.
They really do. Yeah.
I include myself in that too, like for differing reasons, right? But I do find that sometimes if somebody really wants to engage the argument, if you find yourself in the conversation, my advice is to get out of it as soon as possible. But the way to do that is let them respond, let them have the last word. Like metaphorically, let them finish what they're saying. acknowledge it. Don't say, that's true. Don't say, yes, you're right, or I get it, or whatever. Just with body language, acknowledge it and say, okay. Hey, how's your niece?
Yeah.
Give it a beat.
Right.
How about that Luca trade or whatever? I don't know, just getting off of that topic.
Right.
There's not much they can do about it. If they relent, then you might have to pull out the big guns and say, I don't want to talk about this.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just like, and you said that. You said that.
Yeah.
What about this?
Yeah. Look them in the eyes, sincerely nod and say, okay.
Okay. That is.
And I think that is like the meanest thing you can say with the nicest possible tone.
Right.
And this is another thing. I think it depends on the relationship, but you also can try and before the event, if you can one-on-one with this person, just to like, you got to hash it out before the event. Cool. Maybe you go through like a mediating third party if it's, an in-law or something like that. Like you go through a linking person to try and do stuff like before the event, you can kind of try and clear out, hey, let's make sure me and this person are not talking about this.
Yeah.
And if it does come up, you don't want it. I guess this kind of gets into one of my pitfalls, but like if it's something just between the two of you, it doesn't have to be like a full big thing. And kind of doing what Jeffrey's saying of trying to keep it as short as you can. And if you really need to, you can be like, hey, we can talk about this later. But for now, and then change the subject.
If it's really bad and it's going to ruin the family dinner, you can be like, Aunt Stacy, can you just ask Uncle Bob not to talk about this thing?
Yeah.
There are topics where it's just like, okay, and you said that, and now we're going to eat mashed potatoes, And there are topics where it's like, okay, you said that, and I'm going to fight you now,
Yeah.
So if that is the case and that person is prone to bringing that thing up, I think it's totally okay to go to your third mediating person and just be like, can you just ask Uncle Bob to not bring this up? We're trying to eat mashed potatoes, and that's the most important thing you could possibly be doing at Thanksgiving is eating mashed potatoes. And if somebody gets in the way of that, I'm going to fight them.
That was one of the things I wrote down is just finding an ally, like finding somebody who's on your side, not necessarily that they agree with you or that they want to get in the fray with you. It's just somebody that will help soothe it from the other side. Somebody who can talk to that person, not make a scene, who is just silently your ally behind the scenes. And also somebody who you maybe could talk to afterwards, not about what the content of the conversation was, but just how you're feeling about what happened and what you need. And then hopefully, especially with family dynamics, that can improve over time.
Yeah. My second piece of advice was talk to a relative who can help. And that's intentionally very vague because if your parents are the one hosting Thanksgiving and they're kind of doing the inviting, you can go with them and have them talk to it. If it was an in-law, you can talk to the person they're married to if they're close to you, stuff like that. With me and my cousin, I can talk to my other cousin who I'm closer with. And, those cousins are siblings. Is that how cousins work? Like, I'm close with one, but not the other. Yeah, so like they can talk. If you find some sort of person, they can help in all of the different ways that we're talking about, like the more direct of like, hey, let's make sure this doesn't happen. Or even just someone, like Jeff was saying, talk to them after, talk to them before, ask them for advice. Like if they understand where that person's coming from or they've talked to them about it and they can say, hey, this person's thinking about this. Having some sort of ally before can help, during can help, after can help. You don't go in this alone. Do not do it alone. No. Someone will be able to help or at least give you a read on the situation without having to directly confront the problem person for you.
This is, again, and I've said this on the podcast before, but I feel bad for only children because this is a really great spot for a sibling.
Yeah.
Only child.
Yes.
Yes. It's like, it's so nice to have my sister to be like, we know. We know what's going on here. We know these people, and we have an eye contact thing. And we know if I'm making this face and she's making that face, then we're being like, I almost tried to make a football reference. I can't. I can't trace something. But there is always other people, your parents, your cousins.
Somebody.
Someone
Hopefully.
will help you out.
Yeah.
Someone help.
And you know what? If there is no one that can help, I've been in tough situations like this where like a subject came up. So I had a Harry Potter podcast, Potterless. A lot of people knew me as like the Harry Potter person. So people would often come to me and be like, what's this whole J.K. Rowling transphobia business? And I would it was my job to like explain to everyone why what she was doing was terrible. And with some people, fine. And with other people, I knew it would kind of become like a bit of a debate. And there were times where I'd have to go with the people who I know would become a debate. I'd be like, we could talk about this later after dinner. Just, you know, because if we start this now, it's going to be 3 hours of me explaining to you why pronouns are important and also not that hard to figure out and try.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've definitely done the situation where I'm alone. I don't have a help person. I just got to go, hey, let's talk about this later. And then if you need to like physically leave after saying that because that person might stoop and be like, no, like, do that if you have to, but just try to keep it cute, like Jeffrey was saying. Do it with a smile and a nice way of like, let's not do this now. Let's talk about it later. I'm going to grab some more punch. Find it out. Keep it cute.
Yeah, there are people who like think they're going to be cool about it too.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we can totally have this conversation. We can totally have this conversation because I am totally chill and cool. And you're like, Uncle Bob, if there's anything in this world that you are not, it is chill and cool.
Chill and cool.
And they just don't know themselves well enough to know that they're going to cause a fight with you.
It's the good faith thing of you have to determine very quickly from their tone and their approach, especially if they come at you with a question or a comment that they need you to engage with. You have to determine kind of right away from their body language and their tone, are they going to argue in good faith? Because a lot of times they're just spiking the ball down, hoping you'll hit it back so they can spike it back down. They're just wanting back and forth arguments, which no one, unless you are related to a world leader, like no major argument has ever been solved at a dinner table amongst family or friends. Like no wars have been stopped doing this. No horrible laws have been reversed. It is just a situation wherein we're all just trying to understand each other better. And so if they want to understand, Mike, what your thoughts are on J.K. Rowling, you can state them. And if they have differing, then you can say, I hear you. Can you pass the green beans?
From the tone, you can tell a lot because you can tell if this person is genuinely asking a question or if they're genuinely trying to understand your side of things. But you can also definitely tell when someone is looking to pick a fight or a super fun one, trying to convince you that you're wrong. And that's always tricky, especially when it's something like this, because just like you have to know what the other person is going to be like and how tough they're going to stick their feet in the mud. On the flip side, there's certain things like I am never going to budge. I'm always going to say that trans people deserve to exist and be happy. Like on the other side, I can just tell anyone trying to argue that with me, like, no,
this is not going anywhere.
You can tell the other person, like, there's no point in having this conversation if you want me to say anything else than what I've said the past 7 times we've had this conversation. Like, you just got to be able to be like, that's what it is.
I've done the trick before where, especially with older relatives and the concept of pronouns for people, I've started the approach of, I have some thoughts on this that I could contribute if it's something you want to hear.
Sure.
Like if that's a thing you're interested in. If you feel this way, I'm not going to try and judge you or wherever you're at in life, but I have some educated thoughts on this. I know a lot about this subject. And I had an uncle who said, sure, and I started talking and he immediately was like, kicking everything out from underneath me.
Right.
But like my mother, I had this conversation with, and she was having such a hard time with it. And it took a few conversations, but she fucking got it.
Love it.
And she still struggles getting the pronouns right sometimes, but hears herself and doesn't overcorrect and just kind of moves on. And I'm like, oh, that's how normal people do it.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Right.
And it's really interesting because some people do want to get it right.
Right.
And some people don't.
I think that gets into one of my pieces of advice, which is like, you're trying to find the why, right? Like if you're going to engage in the conversation, I'm always trying to figure out why they think that.
Yeah.
What is it that has led them to have this belief? And this has worked especially well with people I know who are conspiracy theorists, is that you just keep asking, oh, well, why do you think that? Interesting. Why would that be the case? And a lot of times you can why somebody into a hole where either they will just be like, pass the mashed potatoes because because they're done trying to explain to you why, and they've created a hole for themselves. Or a lot of times, and this is the constant joke, is like, wow, that was so homophobic, it became gay, like, you're like, oh, and then they'll talk themselves into my opinion by just like continuing to ask, like, why would you think that? What led you to think that? Who does that benefit?
I've had success with this with political conversations with my cousin.
Right. Famously.
The big thing with that, and this wasn't like at a group thing, we were having a one-on-one chat about it. And the why is really good. And it's a very good way to try and keep things not argumentative. Because if you are saying why, and it's so important, the way in which you say it and the tone in which you say it is so hard, because if you just keep asking why in like a pointed way, you become Tucker Carlson.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Yeah. And it looks like you're trying to like Lincoln Douglas them into making them sound stupid. Maybe you are trying to do that.
That is what I'm trying to do.
Right. But you can't let them know that's what you're doing. You have to keep the tone where it seems like you're genuinely asking. But if you are, whether it is genuine or you're trying to get them to say stuff that makes it sound like they're silly, it should keep things calm, because what you're doing is like trying to understand their point of view. You're trying to get their perspective. And if that is like the tone of the conversation, that should keep things away from an argument. Or it can help them see your argument.
Yeah.
Because if you are asking, why do you support this political belief? They might say this. And then if you know better, you can say, well, actually, but don't say, well, actually, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
But you can say like, oh, if that's what you're after, fun fact, this. And then maybe they'll go, oh, I didn't realize that. So I think that is a really good piece of advice. Trying to focus on the why helps keep things calm, and it might help you, if you're trying to get them to see your side of it, might help you achieve that goal.
I would add a slight yes and, but a slight but.
Sure.
My advice would be to never engage the argument. I think if somebody is excited about something, letting them talk about it is really nice. Like, part of keeping it cute is finding the positivity. One of the things that I always tell people, especially in like when we talk about movies, which is it is so much harder to tell people what you love than what you hate. It is so much easier to talk about things you hate. And it's because positivity is an uphill push. Like, you have to maintain it. Negativity rolls downhill very fast. And so I think sometimes people get into the conspiracy thing because they're looking for a way to attack Biden or immigrants, or they're looking for a way to attack the liberals or whatever, as opposed to they're genuinely kind of, and hopefully that just means they're kind of a young, impressionable person and that they've just found themselves on this track. Obviously, if they start having really harmful thoughts, I think engaging the argument can be a little helpful if you do it gently. But I like the why question if it comes with like a, as you said, Mike, like not Tucker Carlsoning them, like not like it is funny if they find themselves hearing themselves for a moment and realizing that they've talked themselves in a circle. My problem with that is whatever I'm feeling at any given point is apparent on my face unless I deeply concentrate on it.
I certainly can't do this.
My smugness is through the roof.
Yeah. I'm the same. I have such an expressive face. It's gotten me into problems many a time before. And the only reason this worked with my cousin is it was a phone conversation. I'm sure my face was giving everything away. So yeah, maybe I should have a third piece of advice, which is just know thyself.
Yeah.
I used to get into trouble. I did a lot of improv, and when people would do bad improv, and I mean like people violating the rules of improv, not people like doing their best effort and just not being funny, but like people genuinely like negating and doing all the things you're not supposed to do.
Right.
Like my face, all my people who would perform with me if we were in the crowd or backstage or whatever would have this exact same read on me, is like, you despise bad improv, like, and you can't handle it. I was like, no, and I'm like not even doing anything. I think I'm sitting like this, but I must just be seething, like you can tell. So yeah, you got it. You're 1,000% right, Jeffrey.
I am quite good at hiding what I am really thinking and feeling behind a face.
Nice.
If you know yourself to have a more neutral face, then you can kind of do whatever at that moment.
Right.
My face would just be like, tongue out, like firmly in cheek. They would know that I was playing them.
Right. I'm very good at the, wow, wow, that's really interesting. But, who would benefit from that?
I'm really excited. Sequoia and I have a work thing coming up this week, and it's like kind of networky at times. I want to see you in action because we're going to be in a conversation with someone that's going to be really bad. And I'm excited to see you rock this and me shove hors d'oeuvres in my mouth so that I am covering how I'm feeling.
Get absolutely covered in horse divorce.
Yeah. Fourth piece of advice, always be chewing. ABC.
Yeah.
You can't give it away.
Always be chewing.
Always be chewing. Always be chewing.
Do we hit both of yours, Mike, right?
Yes, mine have been hit.
I have one on here that was a big one for me.
Please.
This really applies mostly to like the family get together, like in a big environment, which in a lot of ways is harder.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier because you can kind of like split off. You can kind of turn to the person next to you maybe and have a side convo while four other people talk about flat earth or whatever. That's not always the case.
Sure.
But I have been practicing forms of silence, and it's not to say you go quiet on people. It's just to say not engaging with words. So for instance, maintaining a visual interest and engagement in conversation, which is not to tacitly agree with anything, but it is simply to be like, you're being heard. And I'm going to let you speak. It's kind of like years of therapy and watching therapists just sitting as I'm talking. And I'm waiting for them to chime in with a question or their own opinion or, well, this one time in college. But they don't do that. Like, that's not therapy. And so in a way, it's just kind of using that back on people. And it helps kind of keep me still. The other thing with my family is, I mean, one thing you can always do, even at like in a bar or public restaurant or something out with friends, there's always the bathroom break.
Oh, yeah.
And in the bathroom break, it's just to take a moment, make sure your shoulders are lowered, make sure you breathe a few times, and rub the top of your chest. Rubbing the top of your chest does wonders. It's a really nice thing. It just kind of helps ground you. The other thing with the family dinner Thanksgiving environment, ask if you can prepare and serve dessert or do the dishes.
Sure.
Or make drinks or play with the kids or take the dog for a walk. Like, describe it as an activity you really want to do because you want to help and it sounds fun to you.
Yeah.
Because it will be fun because it gets you out of the sphere. And this is speaking as just an extreme introvert. Like, somebody who's very capable, extrovert in the streets, introvert in the sheets. But I very much am like around certain environments, I get overwhelmed very quickly with people and talking. So it gives you kind of a way to stay out of like the main conversation. 4 years ago when my stepfather died, when I went back home for the celebration of life, we were having it at my mom's house, and they had a wet bar at that house. And what I did was I just went to Total Wine, and I bought some cocktail making things and a few items to make, and I taught myself a few cocktails, and I just ran the bar for the whole day. And it was great because it was 3 minutes of conversation with everyone there.
Nice.
As Ellen's son, and that was it. And so like, everything revolved around like, thank you for the drink. This is so nice. I really like this. Oh, how do you like your drinks? Oh, that sounds interesting. I'll try and make it that way. And that was a really fun. It gives you like a way in which to sort of engage but avoid. And it's all about like not sitting with arms crossed, head down. I don't like any of you. Silence is hard because it's an active silence. You have to sort of engage with your eyes and your body. But yeah, it's creating a positive energy for the room.
That's really good.
This reminds me very much of, I went to my 10-year high school reunion.
Ooh.
And I volunteered to run the check-in table. So I got to say hi to everybody. How have you been? What have you been up to? And do like just a cute like 1-2 minutes with everybody who came in. And get progressively drunker whilst doing that throughout the evening. And it was very fun. Listen, you know what's ripe for a conversation with a problematic person that you do not want to have a conversation with, high school reunion.
Those people have great ideas.
Yeah. Every single one of them. So I definitely see where you're coming from that. Great to hear you're a mixologist. Is Total Wine a store?
Oh, yes.
Sequoia's from Utah, so I'm sure liquor is just strange up in there. And now you're in New York City, and they don't have them here. Do they?
You have to go to like New Jersey, Fort Lee,
They were there when I lived in Seattle. It's just big liquor store and
Liquor Wonderland.
Yeah,
Ooh.
depending on how big it is, they can have like some weird stuff. They can have very interesting, unique things. Aisles upon aisles.
You're going to be the mixologist. You got to go to Total Wine to get the good stuff, the good weird stuff.
I also, listen, if I'm going to be drinking the calories, I'm going to buy nice calories.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm not talking like $100 bottles, but I'm not getting the bottom shelf.
I'm not getting $2 Chuck.
You're not getting the plastic bottles. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. The DeKuypers or whatever that brand is. Yeah.
I'm just now.
I have a gag reflex when I say DeKuypers.
I've just had like flashback of all the like bad value wines that people would get in college. Oh my goodness. Ugh.
Chateau Diana that they have at all the New York City grocery stores.
I mean, all the Andre champagne. I can't even remember the like big jug. It was some sort of like Italian dude's name. Oh man,
I got the Franzia in the box. Box wine. We had a song. We sang a song about it. We had box wine to the tune of "Born Free."
Wow.
So I'm familiar. Anyway, box wine, great way to get to get around your conversation at Thanksgiving. I think we hit, was that what you had, Jeffrey?
That's what I had left. I managed to like slip all of my others in there like pills into peanut butter. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, the keeping yourself busy, it can even be beyond doing the drinks. Hanging out with the little one, if there are little ones, like small enough that they're cute and they want to play with you and stuff. Oh man, that's going to endear you to everybody. Like, oh, look how great Mike was. He played catch with Timmy for 4 hours. It's like, it's better than arguing with my cousin, having a catch for the whole evening.
Right. Exactly.
I still, to this day, my favorite household chore is dishes.
Dishes is beautiful.
Every holiday as a child, I'm like, I don't want to be here for any of this. And so I would just go to the kitchen immediately and just start doing dishes. And everyone was like, Ellen, your son is amazing. Like this 11-year-old boy doing all the dishes.
Dishes is so good.
An amazing child. And you're like, no, he's just incredibly awkward and can't talk to people.
We could do a whole episode about how dishes can solve so many awkward things because even if you're bad at it, you can be the dish dryer so that there's more room on the drying rack. That's easy. Towel, dish, keep going till it isn't wet. Loading up the dishwasher, especially if it's with the host of the house, and then they get to tell you where things go in the dishwasher. They're going to love you.
People are very particular about the dishwasher.
It's because there are correct answers to where things go in the dishwasher. As that dishwasher guy, there is a place for everything. Pitfalls?
Pitfalls?
All right, pitfalls.
Mike, how many pitfalls do you have?
I have 2.
I also have 2 pitfalls.
Okay.
My first pitfall is just to avoid personal attacks.
Yeah.
You do a personal attack, they do a personal attack, and then all of a sudden you're arguing about something that isn't even the thing you were arguing about before, and you've devolved into madness. I feel like this is pretty common sense, straightforward. But as a person who can get really angry, I get, I see you, I understand you. Yeah. I understand how things can devolve in that way. And I also understand that it is difficult to not have it devolve in that way. So I thought it worth bringing up.
I think that's such great advice. And it's so hard because it is managing your own emotions because you can't manage anyone else's.
Right.
It feels like you can, like you have the illusion of control because you feel like you're beating them in the argument.
Right.
And that just seems dumb that they can't hear how stupid they are. And then it does feel like sometimes just without even saying a rude phrase or a personal attack, just the tone is a personal attack.
Right.
You wouldn't know I'm an expert on this if you've seen some of the moments I've had with people in my family. You'd be like, oh my God, I'm never taking this man's advice. I've gotten so much better at it over time, but there's still moments where you just feel the anger rise up and you feel like just have to say, you're always like this.
Right.
It's really hard, Sequoia, to avoid that, but it's a true pitfall.
On the flip side, if you can hold off and then your quote unquote adversary, if they lash out or if they do something that's really not cool, that's a good way to make you look like the good person and them look like the bad person. And that is certainly where you don't engage. If they say something really personal, you can just go, okay, and then leave, and then that'll like really set it. Or I have been like yelled at a gathering like this before, and I just didn't say anything, and that worked really well. Every other person in attendance came up to me one-on-one and was like, I am so sorry that blah, 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 blah. Like, if you just stay silent when it's like super obvious that the other person has completely lost their cool, that is the best reply, comeback, gotcha that you can do, is just absolutely do not engage and just let the room sit in that. You're going to be looking great.
Or time to do the dishes.
They're always there. They always need to be done.
I'm like, well, I see that we've escalated to a place that is not great, so I'm going to go do the dishes. And maybe we can talk about this another time.
Even if it's not a thing where like they've blown up or whatever, if you feel yourself getting to the point where you might lash out, it is perfectly okay just to say, I'm going to get too upset. I need to leave. Like, you just let it be known, like,
Flag
I'm going to remove.
Is that football?
It is.
Yes.
It is.
I had friends like all the way back to like high school that like, because, we're boys and we just say the worst things to each other. I remember one of the things was that you kind of knew what people's like things that they got really like amped up about. And you would try and get them going on that. You would try and do something along the lines of like, this is showing my age. And you're like, of course, grunge is a fad. Like you would say in the 90s in high school to people, and to your friend who's got like the torn shirt and the big chain attached to his wallet. You'd be like, no, you don't understand. It goes all the way back to the early 80s in Seattle. And then everyone is sitting around being like, we drew him off sides. We drew him. It's a flag. That's a flag. 5 yards. And that was kind of the joke about like just being able to draw a false start,
Right.
off of people. And I try and remember that. It did teach me a little bit to like not take the bait immediately.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely don't take the bait. That is huge.
Yeah.
My first pitfall to avoid is something that we kind of got into, but if this is a one-on-one thing between you and someone else, don't let that bleed into the entire event. Don't make your problem between you two now become everyone's problem, especially if this comes up like at the dinner portion of Thanksgiving where we're all seated at the same table. Obviously, different situations will be different, but if it's something that is just a one-on-one as opposed to just like your beliefs or we're arguing about politics or whatever, if it's just specifically like, I have a problem with this person, keep it between you two, whether that means you do the pre-prep stuff that we talked about, whether you do it directly or through another relative, or you just like leave the situation or you deal with it afterwards. Don't make it everyone else's problem. So my big pitfall is just like, whatever you can do, don't let it bleed out.
Yeah, that's how you get one of you sent to the kids' table.
Yeah. They're often more delightful to talk to,
kids'
you know.
table.
I volunteer for the kids' table.
Kids'
Yes.
table is great. I love the kids' table.
There's an age from like 13 to like mid to late 20s where you're resentful if you have to be at the kids' table.
Yes.
But then you kind of hit your 30s, and from that point on, you'd be like, I miss the kids' table.
The kids' table
I
rules.
wish I could be at the kids'
You
table.
know who's not going to judge me for just eating a giant plate of mashed potatoes and only mashed potatoes? Kids' table.
Kids' table.
They're going to be like,
Yep.
rock on, brother. Yeah.
They're going to dap you up. Yeah.
Going to tap you up for sure.
Adult table talking about political stuff. Kid table talking about who's the best Power Ranger. Ooh.
Sure.
Ooh.
We're doing K-pop Demon Hunter sing-along.
I was going to say K-pop Demon Hunters.
Kids' table, and it's going to rule.
Look,
Yeah.
fresh off of my daughter requested that we play Soda Pop 13 times today. I could have gone 50.
Keep going, keep going. Incredible.
So good.
My second pitfall, and I think we sort of touched on this. Jeffrey, you brought it up before, but I wanted to retouch on, don't agree just to have the argument be done.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, you said that, and now I'm changing the subject or whatever, but like, don't agree with their terrible opinion just to make it stop.
I think just remembering that your goal is to confirm that you heard them.
Right.
That you heard all of the words that they said and understood them. And that you were done.
Right.
The other phrase is like agree to disagree is a really bad phrase to use. It really upsets people.
I hate it.
I don't love it.
It's again reminding them that somehow they're wrong,
Right.
even though it doesn't say that in the text.
Right.
Yeah.
But it does feel, when somebody says it to you, it's a passive-aggressive, you're still wrong, though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still combative. Like, it's sold to you like a non-combative phrase, and it's combative.
Right.
It is. It very much
Yeah.
is. I think just acknowledging that you heard them in some way.
Right.
And just be like, I fully heard everything you just said, and I want you to know that I heard it.
Yeah.
For me, that word is just, okay.
I get in the habit of this because I grew up like saying like yeah as the way that I knew I heard someone. You can't do that because then they say like blah 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 this racist thing and then you go yeah like no you can't. So I would recommend replace yeah or with just like just because that can just be anything. Just going or huh or something like that. That is just like tone of just like you're saying, Jeffrey, I have heard you, but it doesn't convey my thoughts on it. And then if you need a word, and this can work either if you don't know what to say or if you've completely tuned them out and you're just coasting by, just like trying to pray for the end of this. Anyone who knows me in my personal life, this will out me, but I use interesting. Interesting is a word that can mean anything in reply. And maybe they will think you're saying interesting. They're like, you go, interesting. Like maybe they will think you're saying, oh, wow. That is interesting. Or, it can also be like the interesting, so if you try to say it as neutrally as possible, it's a good way where you can just like justify it. Also, if you do that and then they've caught you like not really paying attention to what they're saying, you can then just be like, I'm just thinking about what you said, or like, I'll have to give it more thought, or I'm not sure. Like try to have an arsenal of general things so you're not agreeing to something you don't agree with. And then if you do the whole thing of thinking about what you said, no, I'm not sure, whatever, that lets you basically have the out of, I don't know quite yet. I'll respond later. And then maybe you just never get back to them about it. And that's fine.
Interesting is a slight trigger word for me because I'm a theater kid and I did a lot of theater making in New York City, especially performance art in the East Village for about 10 years. So that was a word that, like, if somebody said it to me after a show. I was like, oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
We have to do an episode about how to tell your friend that their performance was not good. We have to.
I put this in our question list a long time ago, and Mike, you commented and you were like, oh no, I don't know how to do this.
We have to do it.
I hope it's not too soon when you do that episode to have me back on, because I think I have a document that I wrote all this out one time.
What are you doing tomorrow? We have to do it. That's because look, I've done years worth of improv. I've been on the receiving end, but I am not good at the other thing. Yeah, interesting. I can totally see being one of those words. It's, you looked like you were having fun up there.
You look like, that's good. That's good. That's a good one. Mike, did you have one more?
I have one final pitfall, which is if the situation can be like it's at a point where you can let it lie. Let it lie. If it can't be, you got to address it. But I think it's sort of like you have to read, can things sit as they are? Cool. Don't feel like, you had like a little back and forth that got cut short. Don't feel like, oh, I got to re-engage because they got to know how I feel. I got to win. Like, nah, if it's at a point where it is sitting well, just let it be. Even if you want to tell them that they're wrong, you want to show them that you're the biggest, smartest, nicest, kindest, best person ever. If it's at a good spot, you just like leave it, swallow the pride. Don't open up the can of worms if it's nice and resealed. Obviously, if it's like a big problem thing, sure. But if it's just like petty little argument kind of stuff or something that like doesn't affect the big important things, just leave it be.
That was related to kind of the one thing that I was wanting to include on pitfalls was just expecting closure.
Yeah.
Closure is in you. Like, it's all up to you to find the closure. You can't get it from anyone else. It's because really you're the one having the feelings about what happened. They have their own feelings about what's been going on, but you're the one having the feelings.
Sure.
So it's up to you to figure out how to close those feelings, and may not be able to be done that night. And it certainly can't be done by revisiting the thing that opened the wound to start with.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute, this knife cut my arm. If I get the knife again, maybe I can close it back up.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
That's really it. It's that it's finding the closure in yourself, and other people who you trust inherently, people very close to you, can kind of help you manage these things. A therapist, but also, like your real loved ones, that your chosen family can really help that too.
The closure can also kind of go alongside with some of the other things we talked about with pre-production kind of things, and then the know thyself. That's sort of the thing where if you kind of determine what would be the stopping point to make me feel good about this, or at least feel like I can move on from this, then you can do whatever you can to get up to that point and then move on. If it's a political thing, you can try to like say your side, say your values, whatever. And then if they aren't going to give you anything, move on. Now I can rest knowing I did my best up until the point where it's only going to get bad from here on out. I'm not going to do anything further. So if you know like the stopping point, you can get up to the stopping point and then make the call of like, should we abandon trying to talk about this? And then recognize this is going to be it. I did my part. Can't do anything more. It's done.
Can I add one like caveat basically to the whole thing? Really,
Totally.
Which is just that I think about this a lot, which is a lot of times the thing I get into an argument about, especially in politics and like cultural arguments, has to do with queerness. It has to do with immigrants. It has to do with abortion or women's rights and things like that. These are topics that do not directly affect my life as a cis, white, straight male. But obviously, like, I feel a ton of empathy for the people that these laws affect and these opinions affect. One of the things I did write down, and I want to be careful on how I say it, but oftentimes when people bring up these topics, no matter how closely they hit to you, most of the time, I'll steal a thing from your apologies episode, which is most of the time their bad political take, however close it hits to home, oftentimes it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about them needing to find power in this dynamic, to look smart, to look powerful, to sound funny or shocking. That's the thing is that clearly there are going to be people out there in this world who their families say those things in order to hurt them. And that is abuse, which is not what I've been talking about today. And I don't think you guys are either.
Yes.
So it's like recognizing the difference. But very often, it's surprising to me how often when I've had these conversations with people in my own family that they don't connect the dots as to how their opinions on things directly affect my life and the people around me and my career and the people that I work with and live with, and even friends that they love dearly. And then you try and connect those dots, and it takes a while, and they start finally seeing like, oh, I see how that would harm them.
Yeah.
I see how that is harmful to people. And that's only the people who really want to listen and make change. But honestly, it's surprising how little connection people make to the things they say and how it affects anyone else in their lives. And you just can't fight that.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes that shit's not about you. And it's just for you, it's just about protecting yourself from whatever crazy ass shit they're going to throw out.
Yeah, I do agree. And like, as a person myself who belongs to a lot of those marginalized groups, I'm really glad that for the most part, like my immediate family don't have a problem with things and are very cool and good people. And we don't have to fight about who I am or who my friends are as people. I do have a large contingent of my family that does. But those people I met once when I was like 10, and then I unfriended them on Facebook in 2016.
Yeah.
You know, like we know,
Yeah.
you know? Like there's a very clear demarcation there. But yeah, it's definitely like the things we're talking about is like, you know, Uncle Bob cracks a dumb joke that is not funny. It's actually pretty offensive at the table, and maybe you want to tell him not to tell jokes like that anymore or something, you know. Not Uncle Bob came in and said, I hate you and everything you are and everything you represent.
Yeah,
you know?
that's going to be a different episode of this podcast.
Yeah.
As a cute button, I will add, in keeping this whole thing cute, I will add that it's very funny that my two favorite relatives in terms of like people that were very easy to talk to and just exude such kindness in the world are my Uncle Bob and his wife, who is a baby boomer named Karen.
Wow.
Amazing.
Just the absolute like sweetest, kindest, most empathetic, understanding people in the whole world that I would never expect crazy discourse from ever.
Yeah, exactly.
In a million years.
That's great. That's great.
That is a cute button. Well, I think we've kind of touched all the bases. Anything I had prepped has been covered.
Yeah.
The two of you feeling good about what we've done?
I feel prepped for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I feel ready to
This
go.
is kind of timely. This episode's coming out.
We did a really good job.
Yeah.
This was on accident.
This completely on accident. But when
Don't
does this
forget.
drop? Like late September, early October, right? Yeah. We're doing it.
Look at us go. We're professional talkers. Hey.
I don't even think we can do the thing where we recap all the stuff because we had so many different things and it flowed. So
I know.
I
would say the recap is keep it cute.
Get relative pre-production help if you can, or post-event venting pseudo-therapy sessions if needed.
Find someone to yell with.
Don't get angry. Don't take the bait. Do whatever you can do to avoid any sort of explosion. And know yourself, know your limits, know what will bring you closure.
Do the dishes.
Do the dishes.
Find an activity.
Do the dishes.
Play with those kids.
Play with the kids.
Go throw the frisbee with the dog.
Sit
do
at the
something.
kids' table.
Sit at the kids'
That's right.
table.
That's what we're saying. Sit at the kids' table, make it cute, do the dishes. And that's what it is.
Incredible.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, y'all, what a delight. I'm so happy to come on your show. This was great.
What are you doing out there these days? Where can the people find you? What content of yours should they be consuming?
Well, we're going to be on a Night Vale tour in October, from late October all the way to Halloween. We're going, basically the path is like 11 days long. Just draw a line from Austin to Detroit to Toronto, and then that's the path we're taking. If you have a pretty big city along the way, we'll probably hit it, minus Chicago, because we did that in the summer. Nice. But yeah, so we'll be doing our Murder Night in Blood Forest live touring show, which is so much fun. It's very 80s slasher themed, which has been really fun. And also, Cecil and I, hey, it's spooky season. If this is coming out in September, October, Cecil, the narrator of Welcome to Night Vale, he and I have been doing a podcast for 5 years now called Random Number Generator Horror, podcast number 9. You can truncate it to Random Horror 9, where we just talk about movies and horror movies and what we love about them. And it's a different one each week, and it's always random because we use dice to figure out what we're going to watch. So just, check that podcast out if you're horror curious, like I have always been.
Yes.
We'll tell you all the details of what's going to happen in the movie so you can know about it but not have to look at it. We've gotten a lot of great emails from people to say, I have always been like horror curious. Just tell me what happens because I want to know, but I don't want to have to watch it. And a lot of people have been like, this was my first, I finally started watching a movie after a year of listening to your show. Yes. And it was so fun.
Yeah.
So a little bit of horror boot camp for you there.
That's
Love
good.
It.
But gentle.
I need that. I love that. That's fantastic. The other thing is, as I commented on Blue Sky today with you, Jeffrey, the big thing of the tour, are you wearing that corduroy blazer? That what color, what shade of pink is it? Is it fuchsia? Is it magenta?
It's in the magenta burgundy family
really
of purple red, and it's corduroy, and and you can't see it in the photo, but it does have patches on the elbows.
Incredible.
Because it's professorial smoking jacket, like all crammed into one thing, and I love it.
Oh,
awesome.
So go to see it on tour so you can see the jacket. What content schmontent, the jacket. Well, thank you, Jeffrey. This was a delight. So good.
Thanks,
and
y'all.
we look forward to having you back for telling someone
your friend that their art
wasn't actually that good, how to
was bad.
get out of there.
New words for interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was an incredible conversation. I hope that everybody learned something new from it. I certainly did.
I did for sure. Many good takeaways, but we can't just have our takeaways or Jeffrey's, because Jeffrey's even older than us. We have to.
We must bring in the young folk.
Channel the youth. Do a seance for our podcast ghost, Sherry Guo, for another introvert Gen Z vibe check. Ooh. Welcome, everyone, to the Introvert Vibe Check Morning Edition. You may have seen my mug of tea, very intentionally from the Utah Zoo, Zootah, which I could not get that mug. You may have noticed my sunglasses, my hat that says, what is it? It's like Sunday downtown breakfast, lunch, dinners. No, culture downtown breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I can't read it.
Sunday vibes.
Culture downtown breakfast, lunch, dinner, Sunday vibes. This is a Sunday morning recording. The sunglasses is also there because now that we're a video podcast, I have to be aware of how I look.
I did do my hair at 8 a.m. this morning.
That's why the hat.
Yeah.
People have often told me in my whole life that even like 4 or 5 hours after I wake up, people will go, wow, you look tired. No matter how much sleep or how little sleep I get. We could do a whole episode of things not to ever tell anyone ever.
Please. I have a long list.
Very towards the top for me is, wow, you look tired. Because what's cool is if you feel tired and you feel bad, what's really good is when someone tells you, hey, you look as bad as you feel. I'm dressed like a celebrity on a podcast where they don't want to look tired in the eyes. Here I am.
And here you are. And here you are. I, too, am rocking the hat. Very excited to be here. Sherry Ghost, how did you feel about our advice in this episode?
Pretty good. Yeah. Particularly, I like the just go and do a different activity so you don't even have to engage in this conversation. Because as someone who cannot keep myself under control when I'm fuming about something.
Same. Look at us. Yeah. We're aligned.
I do need to I know thyself, remove myself from the situation.
Know thyself. Know thyself. Yeah. No, that's very true.
Also, I like having the arsenal of just generic comments because I'm not good at that. I will make a very sarcastic comment to let them know I'm not vibing with this. And then that just makes it more uncomfortable.
We're definitely seeing eye to eye, Sherry, on this. And I think if you go in with some prepped stuff, whether that be this is the phrase I'm going to use when I don't agree with what people are saying, that's good to have in there. And Jeffrey's suggestion of get out of there and do other activities is very, very smart stuff. This is why we bring on experts, because they're very smart.
Yeah. Do the dishes. So do you see yourself getting into the argument and then having to go find a way out of having the argument by going to do the dishes? Like, I feel like Gen Z is like, yeah, okay, I'll fight you.
There are definitely certain people that are like that. I am the least confrontational person ever.
Right.
So if I get stuck in a conversation, I will do as much as possible, just leave as soon as possible.
Right.
But sometimes someone will just say something that just really gets my gears going, and I will make a snippy comment and always regret it because then I'm stuck in an argument with someone who is bad faith arguing. Yeah. And I don't know if you've heard the term recreational argument floating around on the internet.
What?
This is why we bring you in.
Yeah, I've seen the phrase floating around. Some people, their families are just recreational arguers, where they just engage in arguments generally, and then having an argument with that type of person when you're not someone who comes from a recreationally arguing family is for me, very uncomfortable because I'm I do not want to hear arguing at all. Please stop yelling at each other. I don't care what the argument is. I don't care how ridiculous it is. I would like to get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with this concept. It's just called being from New Jersey. This is how my family operates. And I've definitely talked about this on some of my other podcasts. But when I moved from New Jersey to Texas, people thought I was ridiculous. They thought I was very aggressive, and it was just more of no. This is just how you talk to your friends. You get slightly argumentative, but then once the discussion is over, we all recognize we're not actually mad at each other. We just get very passionate when we're talking about something.
Right. And they were like, why are you trying to fight me?
Yeah.
Right. Now, I will also say, if you do, it's much like in My Cousin Vinny, where they talk about how good they are at arguing as a family and it being a skill set. I will also say, if I'm ever genuinely in an argument with someone, I think I'm pretty good at it. So Corey and I just got into a very light argument with someone who was pro AI at a podcast conference.
We did.
That was me reining it in like 95% of my anger that I could have unleashed.
Yeah. Recently, I also was in an AI conversation with someone. Like, it wasn't like about it. Just like they happened to make a comment, and I was just kind of like, oh, like I don't think it's very good, and just left it at that. But normally, I'm not that civil.
If
someone picks an argument with me, I will fight because I don't like being wrong. And even if I realize I'm wrong, sometimes I will just like be stubborn and like just keep pushing the point. Like these aren't with like things that have stakes, like with silly arguments.
Sure.
But I do not like being in an argument ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. My friend group is recreationally they have the recreational arguments, my friend group. And it took me several years until I figured out. I'd be like, I'm going to go on a walk. And they'd be like, why are you leaving? I'm like, because everyone's fighting. Yeah.
Cool. Well, any other comments, especially from the Gen Z and / or introvert perspective about the advice given in this episode? Or are we good to tie the bow?
I think we're good.
Yes.
The overall thing that I took away from it was just leave the conversation as soon as possible. Do not engage.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
Engage neutrally at best.
Yeah. Cool.
Well,
thanks,
thank you.
Sherry. We appreciate it.
Ooh.
Yay.
Now I'm going to go back to sleep. Just kidding. I'm going to have the rest of the day with my baby who woke me up at 5:30.
Well, that's our episode on talking to that relative at Thanksgiving. This is a sticky subject, and I think that we gave a lot of advice today that hopefully you'll all not have to use at Thanksgiving this year. We didn't time this on purpose, but this is coming out relatively close to Thanksgiving.
Don't tell them that. We did.
We
It's
did
all
do it on
intentional.
purpose.
We're professional talkers. This is our job.
We did it on purpose. Thanks as always to Sherry Gwost and Mike. It was nice talking to you.
Great talking to you, Sequoia.
Listeners, we'll talk to you soon.
We appreciate you listening to this episode of Professional Talkers.
Professional Talkers is created, hosted, and produced by Mike Schubert and Sequoia Simone.
Audio is edited by Sequoia Simone, and video is edited by Mike Schubert. The music is by Bettina Campamanes, and the art is by Elliot Davis.
Can't get enough of the show? Get access to loads of additional content like ad-free episodes and bonus episodes as a thank you for supporting us at patreon.com/professionaltalkers. Thank you to our talking protege level patron, Ginger Spursboy.
And if that's still not enough, follow us on social media. We're at ProTalkPod on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter, or you can check out our website, professionaltalkers.com.
If you want to watch video versions of these episodes, you can find those over on Spotify as well as our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@professionaltalkers.
We'd love it if you would subscribe to and rate the show on your preferred podcasting app, and we'd be especially grateful if you talked about the show to your friends or talked about it on social media. Word of mouth helps new shows grow.
Talk to you soon.